Have you ever watched the person you love become a stranger right before your eyes? Oh, the night everything broke was a Tuesday. I was lying in our bed, the blue light of Amelia's phone painting a ghostly glow on the ceiling of our Chicago brownstone. It was 2 a.m., and her thumb was moving frantically, a secret smile playing on her lips. She thought I was asleep. She was wrong. I saw the name flash for a split second, David, before she angled the screen away. A cold dread, sharp and metallic, filled my throat. I didn't know who David was, but I knew in that instant that the woman I'd married was gone, and in her place was someone I was about to destroy. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For weeks, the signs had been there, like tiny cracks in a foundation I refused to see. Late nights she called work dinners, the scent of a cologne that wasn't mine clinging faintly to her coat. The way she'd started locking her phone, a device that had once been as open between us as our conversations. Amelia, my Amelia of 10 years, was becoming cold, distant. When I tried to talk to her, to bridge the growing chasm, her words were like polished stones, smooth, hard, and deflecting. "You're being paranoid, Mark," she'd say, her voice dripping with a condescending pity that made my skin crawl. "Maybe you should find a hobby instead of worrying about me all the time." She and her lover, whoever he was, felt untouchable. Wrapped in a bubble of arrogance while I was left gasping for air in a marriage that was suffocating me. The breakdown happened on a rainy Thursday. I'd found a receipt crumpled in her glove box, a hotel bar, the Langham, for 2 people. The date matched a night she was supposedly at a yoga retreat. I sat in my car, parked on North Michigan Avenue, the rain blurring the city lights into a watercolor of my own misery. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on my chest until I couldn't breathe. I wasn't just sad, I was erased. Every memory, every shared laugh, every promise was now a lie. That night, something inside me shattered. But as the pieces settled, they didn't form sadness. They formed a cold, hard resolve. The loyal, loving husband was dead. In his place, a strategist was born. My first move was quiet. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who operated out of a dusty office in the Loop. I needed more than suspicion. I needed irrefutable proof. While he worked, I played the part of the slightly clueless, slightly pathetic husband. I made her dinner, I asked about her day, and I watched. I watched as she'd text under the dinner table. I watched as she'd take hushed calls in the other room, her voice a low, intimate murmur. The pie delivered, photos grainy but undeniable. Amelia and a man, David, I learned, kissing outside a restaurant on Rush Street. Him, smug and handsome, in a tailored suit. Her looking up at him with a glow I hadn't seen in years. The report also contained his full name, David Miller, a real estate developer. And the most important detail of all, he was married. His wife's name was Sarah. The trap had to be perfect, a masterpiece of social, legal, and emotional devastation. I started with the finances. Amelia had a taste for the expensive, a lifestyle funded largely by my salary. With the help of a forensic accountant, I began meticulously documenting her spending on him gifts. Hotel rooms, dinners she'd put on our shared cards. I moved my inheritance into a protected trust, a move my lawyer assured me was ironclad. Socially, I began planting seeds. I'd mentioned to our friends, with a pained and confused look, Amelia seems so distant lately. She's been working so much with this new client, David Miller. I let the name hang in the air. I wanted them to hear it from me first, wrapped in innocence. The final piece of the plan was the most ruthless. It was our anniversary. I booked a table at Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse, the site of our first date. I invited our closest friends, a dozen people who had toasted our marriage. I also, through an anonymous tip, ensured David's wife, Sarah, would be at the bar of that very restaurant, waiting for a husband who was never going to show. Amelia arrived, radiant in a new dress I knew I hadn't paid for. She was playing her part, the loving wife on her anniversary. The toasts began. Our friends shared memories. Then it was my turn. I stood up, glass in hand. I looked directly at Amelia, my heart a block of ice. To my wife, I began, my voice steady. She's taught me so much about love and about loss. And recently, she's introduced me to new people. People like David. A flicker of panic in her eyes. The table went silent. But I feel I know his wife even better, I continued, my voice dropping. Don't you, Sarah? I didn't call her Amelia. I called her Sarah. Her face went white. It wasn't just shock. It was the gut-wrenching terror of a carefully constructed world imploding. Her eyes darted around the table at our friends' horrified faces. And then across the restaurant to the bar where a woman was staring at our table, her expression crumbling. That was Sarah Miller. Amelia started to shake, a tremor that began in her hands and consumed her entire body. The smugness was gone, replaced by the raw, ugly face of exposure. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The legal papers were served the next day. The affair clause in our prenup was activated. The proof was absolute. Her friends abandoned her. Her reputation was in ruins. She was left with nothing but the consequences of her own choices. I see her sometimes, a ghost in a city that was once ours. She looks older, worn down by the life she chose. We never speak. There's nothing left to say. The silence between us is heavier than any words could ever be.